Hizuru confirms his suspicion that Shinpei is a time traveler. She then wonders if Shinpei knew her brother and believes that the reveal wasn't made by her. Hizuru learns from Shinpei's disclosure that she can incorporate this into the plot of her subsequent novel. Due to the swampman's resemblance to the shadows in the book, Shinpei believes she believed him. Hizuru explains that her family was killed by a shadow 14 years ago. Notwithstanding, she can't let him know more, as though the shadows duplicate Shinpei. They will get familiar with her mysterious. Jinjiro asserts that shadows continue to target Hizuru and families. Shinpei is aware of the reason he, Ushio, and Mio are being targeted, and he wonders about a land. However, Hizuru claims that she killed his shadow. Jinjiro explains that they can no longer copy you once your shadow is killed. They will never be able to imitate Jinjiro again thanks to this immunity. Shinpei asks Hizuru about his plan after she promises to assist him. Shinpei says that they only have 54 hours. But he wants to help Mio and get rid of her shadow first. Hizuru is in agreement, but he says that there is a problem first, and Shinpei thinks it is the Kobayakuras. However, he saw Shiori's shadow at the festival, so Hizuru would not be able to get rid of Shiori and wants to go with her. Hizuru transforms into Ryanosuke in front of Kobe Mart and listens to Shinpei and Hizuru's earlier conversation. That's because Ryanosuke doesn't have Hizuru's memories, as Jinjiro explains. Ryanosuke rings at the doorbell and Asako opens. Ryanosuke makes sense of he brings trinkets, and Shiori covertly advises Asako to give her access. After that, Asako introduces her family, including her daughter Shiori and husband Tatsuo. Ryanosuke smashes Asako's head as soon as he enters by opening his luggage and taking out a hammer. He points out that since the other two will know he knows how to kill them and keep a safe distance if he immediately pursues their shadows, he must eliminate all three at once. Shinpei inquires as to whether Hizuru possesses a dual personality. But Jinjiro responds that he is close but not quite. Ryanosuke is then attacked by Tatsuo, who also hits his head. Shinpei is informed by Jinjiro that if he enters, the reason Shiori escaped might change, and Hizuru is currently attempting to determine how she did it. After seeing Asako's death, Ryanosuke proceeded to smash her shadow and kill her after avoiding her attack. Jinjiro tells Shinpei that Ryanosuke was Hizuru's twin brother, but that she found him dead 14 years ago. He was covered in bite marks all over his body, giving the impression that he was bitten by a wild dog. However, the bites served as a distraction from the strangle marks on his neck. They cremated Ryanosuke's body because no one believed Hizuru that this was a murder. Hizuru, on the other hand, shatters Shiori's shadow. Shiori takes harm, yet figures out how to isolate a piece of her shadow encompassing the sledge and gets by with wounds. Ryanosuke is then strangled by Shiori, who remarks that he knows how to kill shadow and is dangerous. Shiori wonders if Ryanosuke is even human because he remarks that he moves faster than the shadows. She is instructed by Ryanosuke to imitate him and ask herself. Ryanosuke manages to grab a pair of chopsticks, but as Shiori's shadow falls on him, he stabs himself to strike the shadow. On the third floor, Shiori manages to escape. Ryanosuke informs Jinjiro via text that Asako and Tatsuo are dead. However, Shiori went to the third floor, so Shinpei might be right. Plan B is implemented, and Jinjiro procures nail guns for Shinpei and him. Ryanosuke enters Shiori's room on the third floor and informs Jinjiro via text that she was able to escape from the window. He tells her that it's pointless because if she copies him, she won't be able to move for a few seconds. He senses her presence behind him. Shiori flees from the window and retreats into her shadow, realizing she cannot imitate Hizuru. After that, Jinjiro begins to shoot her with his nail gun. Shiori is able to get past him after he hits her twice. Shinpei emerges just as she is about to flee, charges at Shiori, and he knocks her to the ground. Shiori bites him, but Jinjiro shoots 3 nails at her shadow, stopping them from moving, telling Shinpei it's safe to let her go because she won't be able to escape now. Ryanosuke discovers for the first time that pins prevent them from escaping their three-dimensional body. When Ryanosuke asks Shiori if she was the one who killed Ushio, Shiori responds with a grin and explains that because she is different from the other shadows, they chose Plan B. Shinpei becomes enraged and inquires about why Ushio and their objective. Shiori claims that the end will arrive this summer and that she will be leaving with her family. She claims that while she was copied by a shadow, she also copied all of Shiori's thoughts and memories. making her the actual Shirori at the moment. Shun then, at that point, requests that Shinpei become a shadow like her and be her older sibling. Shinpei barely holds his fist as she laughs. According to Ryanosuke, if you talk to a shadow for too long, you can only be misled. So he smashes Shirori and kills her. Shinpei recalls the theme of Swamp Man and wonders what Ryanosuke thinks about the distinction between the copy and the original. Jinjiro reveals that he discussed Ryanosuke with Shinpei. After that, Ryanosuke introduces himself as Hizuru's brother Ryanosuke Minamikata. He says that Hizuru wrote the books, but he shows up when she has to deal with things she doesn't like meetings or interviews. He assumes Shinpei had read some of her books, and Jinjiro admits that he is a huge fan. Ryanosuke is surprised because Hizuru didn't mention this in her notes, so he thinks she's shy. At that moment, he punches himself and raises his fist. After that, Hizuru takes over, stating that she is not shy and is not concealing anything. But that she decided to intervene because they were deviating from the topic at hand. She advises him not to falter in front of the shadows and to postpone his philosophical discussion until after everything has been completed. She doubts his ability to eliminate Mio's shadow. They exchange phone numbers as they head toward Kofien's house. Shinpei is instructed by Hizuru to behave normally and watch until the shadow appears. Shinpei sees Mio holding a bloody knife as he enters the Kofien residence. He is shocked, but when she sees that she is cutting onions, she breaks down in tears and wounds herself. Shinpei finds it odd because she has never cooked before. However, Mio explains that she decided to do something to cheer him up because he seemed down. Shinpei decides to continue making curry by stepping on her shadow with the knife to verify that she is human. Shinpei wonders if Mio is that hungry when she goes to wash her face. However, as he turns, he sees Ushio, who confirms that Mio is hungry. Ushio sees Shinpei making his curry and is pleased to see him. Shinpei is taken aback and remarks that she ought to have attended the festival on the 24th. Ushio explains that some shadow-like monsters would appear at the festival and eat everyone, which Ushio wonders how he knows. Ushio wonders if he was also present when Shinpei realizes that she had already attended the festival. Shinpei hides Ushio under the counter when Mio enters, her stomach rumbles, and Mio remarks that it sounds like his sister's. However, Mio is glad that he is hungry because it indicates that he is okay. Shinpei continues cooking. He gives Ushio a note when Alan arrives, telling her that Alan will use the restroom in 5 minutes, followed by Mio. Ushio ought to go to Shinpei's room when they leave. Shinpei declares that he is very hungry and takes 2 plates into his room after completing everything as before and the cooking. Shinpei sees Ushio eagerly awaiting the curry when he enters his room. Shinpei asks Shadow Ushio where she came from and wonders how she managed to loop with him. Ushio explains that she got up at Omoto Beach and walked there. Ushio claims that she remained hidden and no one ever saw her, recalling Mio's characterization of her as a monster. Ushio's shadow is startled when Shinpei touches it, and she says she is tickled. Because she is completely unprepared, Shinpei is prepared to kill her, but he remembers that she assisted him. Shinpei recalls telling Ushio that he would be attending culinary school in Tokyo. He told her that he couldn't continue to be a burden for the Kofien family. But the truth is that he loves Ushio and can't continue to be her stepbrother. Ushio asked Shinpei to make her curry on his last day on the island, but he was too busy packing to tell her. Shinpei decides not to kill Shadow Ushio when she tells him how happy she is to be able to eat his curry once more. Ushio informs him that she wants to put an end to the monsters, and the two of them agree to collaborate in order to stop the events at the festival. Shinpei wonders if Ushio can imitate other people, but Ushio cannot. Shadow Mio is scheduled to appear in 10 minutes. Hizuru, who is now Ryanosuke, asks Jinjiro if he is in position, and Jinjiro replies that he is. Additionally, he advises Ryanosuke not to rely on everything Shinpei said because Prey is notoriously unpredictable. Shinpei receives a message from Ryanosuke inquiring about any changes. After that, Shinpei wonders if he should tell Ushio, but he doesn't. He inquires of Ushio as to whether she will not change clothes. Ushio then realizes that staying in a swimsuit is strange, but at that exact instant, her swimsuit starts to disappear. She punches Shinpei because she saw her naked and asks him to give her clothes. He tells her that Mio's shadow is coming and gives her a shirt. He brings up it is an exercise in futility to secure, as the shadows can pull out into their shadows and enter from the littlest breaks, which makes Ushio endeavor to make it happen, yet fizzles. Additionally, Shinpei explains that Mio's shadow has never entered the house before, so there is no need to be concerned. A shadow entered the house in the interim. Ushio hides behind the blanket when Mio enters Shinpei's room. Mio is there to take care of the dishes. But she is surprised to see Shinpei use 2 spoons and glasses. Mio thinks it's because Ushio came, and she tells Shinpei that at Hitogashima, the dead souls go back to their homes and become guardian deities. Shinpei is alarmed because she almost saw Ushio as Mio leaves but returns in a matter of seconds. She is, however, dressed in her school uniform, which he observes. After that, Shadow Mio tries to stab him, but Ushio shields him and takes the blow. After that, Ushio pushes Mio back. But she goes into her shadow, emerges, and stabs Ushio's shadow, injuring herself. Shinpei challenges Mio after realizing he can't win. He opens the curtains. After that, Mio turns to Ushio and asks her why she is protecting him when he, Jinjiro, and Hizuru all kill the shadow. Ushio says that she loves Shinpei, and it's fine to support the one you love. Mio turns towards Shinpei to kill him as she yells that Ushio has passed away. Jinjiro blows her head out of the window at that exact instant. Shinpei stabs Mio's shadow as he kneels down. She wonders why Shadow Mio died because she also loved him. Shinpei stops Ryanosuke from smashing Ushio's head as he enters Shinpei's room and protects her with his body. Shinpei claims to be aware that Ryanosuke despises shadows and that their objective is to eliminate all of them, however. Ushio had rescued Shinpei twice by shielding him with her own body. Shinpei threatens Ushio's wound and begs Hizuru to save her. Ryanosuke turns to Hizuru and warns him that she will kill him as well if he chooses to side with the shadow. Shinpei says he will loop again to persuade her the next time, and he doesn't care. Ushio inquires about the real Mio's health. Hizuru states that she is in the bathroom, which she confirms. After that, Hizuru decides to assist Ushio after realizing that her voice is identical to the one she heard in the message that brought her to the island. When Hizuru gets outside, he dries Ushio's arm with water before he vanishes. Ushio becomes frantic, but he later claims that it won't hurt. Hizuru explains that the wound was a projection of her main body's damage. Ushio is unaware of Hizuru's claim that she previously frequented the Kofun restaurant on a regular basis. After that, Hizuru plays her the message, in which Ushio tells her that Shinpei Ajiro is the only one who can stop the shadows and that the shadows will kill everyone at the festival. Ushio, on the other hand, is unaware of it as well. Jinjiro is puzzled as to why the Mio shadow entered the house this time and behaved differently. Shinpei claims to be aware that they murdered Shirori. Hizuru is of the opinion that Mio saw them as a threat and moved to get rid of them. They were after Hizuru and Jinjiro in the previous loops, but in this one, they are aware that Shinpei is with them. Given that they eradicated all shadows at Kobayakawa's, Shinpei is perplexed as to how they know that. If he intends to remain in Ushio's shadow, Hizuru informs him that they will not be able to continue working together. She concurs that Ushio is probably flawed and currently has no malicious intent, but she may be fixed at some point. Shinpei informs Hizuru as they leave that she was killed by Mio's shadow in the forest surrounding the shrine on 23rd, just past 3 p.m. There may still be a replacement for Mio, even though he has lost. In the first part of the day of 23rd, Ushio is ravenous and Shinpei goes to take some food. He goes to Mio, who talked to Takiko all night, and tells her he's awake so she doesn't have to go to his room. Shinpei then shows the shell necklace to Ushio, but she doesn't remember anything else. Mio then gives him the necklace. Shinpei continues as he did on the 23rd and starts working at the restaurant. When Tetsu gives him Ushio's phone, so goes to the restaurant. Shinpei grabs 2 umbrellas and takes them outside, anticipating that it will rain later. He needs to tell him something about Ushio's death, so says. She was most likely killed, according to Ushio, who appears behind him and mentions the strangle marks. So confirms, but is shocked when he realizes it's Ushio. After that, Ushio and Shinpei tell him everything. So says she can punch Ushio and apologizes for not doing more to save him at the end. Ushio kicks him right then, wondering if he's happy and if he should get up because they rely on him. Shadow Ushio has no recollection of what happened at the private beach where Ushio passed away. Shinpei hands her his phone and says that he wanted to look through it but it was locked. Ushio uses her fingerprint to unlock the door after realizing that the password has changed. She sees a video from the morning of the 20th, the day she died, as she looks at it.